Diane Donaldson Distinguished Wall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Matt Outlaw, and I'm the superintendent here for the Brandon School District, and I get to be the master of ceremonies for our tonight's event. I'd like to begin by thanking you all for being here. This is really a special occasion. It's something that we're very proud of in the school system, and very thankful for all the support that we get from the community on this event. I'd like to introduce some of our guests here tonight. First, I'd like to introduce our school board president, Diane Salter. Also here today, just coming from football practice, our school board vice president, Bob Eisminger. And I think that's it from our school board. We have Bob DePalma. He's our Groveland Township supervisor. Thank you, Bob, for being here. From the VFW, he's the area commander, and he's on his way. Every time I talk to him, he's higher in that organization. A very important person in the VFW organization. I want to mention, I didn't see Judy Miracle, but Judy Miracle from the Ortonville Historical Society, and also from the Historical Society, we have Noah Cox. We have several of our former winners, who I will mention, people that are enshrined here on our wall that I'll mention as well. But we have Ron Sutton, class of 1948. We have Justin Quisenberry, I think class of 2000. We have Joe Slaughter, class of 1965. We have Clark and Lori Cook, I believe 1976. Am I right on that there? Sorry about that, I apologize. But thank you all for being here. We have the Donaldson family. We have many representatives here, and I'm going to let Mrs. Donaldson's going to do some of those introductions. I want to thank the Donaldson family. They are the namesake. They are the supporters of the reason that this happened. So thank you for all the Donaldsons for being here. We have folks from our local TV, OTV. Greg Norman is the local TV station producer. From our TV studio here inside the school, we have Jeff Malicki. And then our brand administration. Starting on the left side, we have our technology director, Thomas Janczewski. Looking all the way across here, we have Brian Moore. He's our communications director, teacher, and CTE coordinator and marketing specialist for us. And I can go on and on. That's our website. So we have Diane Zidane. She is our special ed director and preschool director, our 5-star preschool director. Also in our administration, we have Bob Larson. He is a instructional technology and data specialist at Central Office. Bob Larson. Next up, we have a person who's been a curriculum specialist here inside the district, and this year is Harvey Swanson's principal, is Debbie Brower. Next, we have our new director of curriculum instruction for the district, David Schmitto. And over here, we have our CFO for our district, Jan Meek. Jan also runs community education for the school district. And next to Jan, we have our human resource director, Carol Hamos. So I'd like to welcome all the friends and families also that are associated with our 2 honorees tonight. So excited for you to be here. I'm going to do really quickly a couple last ones. And David Wyatt, who I'm looking at right here. The administrators all stand in the back. It's so easy. I like to put it right well over here. So David Wyatt is assistant principal. He is an Ortonville resident. He's been with us for 3 years, assistant principal at the high school. Thank you, David. And we also we have a couple special thank yous for tonight. People that hold this whole thing together. And the person who just does a ton of legwork to make this whole thing happen, it just seems like we just show up, I walk up here and everything's just perfect, is the person who runs our office at Central Office, Maria Schubring in the back. Yay! We the attention to detail, and it's just so appreciated.
I just do what Diane tells me.
Two other people that I want to thank is Pam Westerby. Pam Westerby is always like a great help from Maria, and they're always out here doing all kinds of things. So Pam, thank you for all the stuff that you do. It's really appreciated. And then finally, she's not here this evening, but Tanya Selling, who's from Paramount Signs. She's the one that designed all of this, was the artist that put this together. She does all of our plaques and she does all this stuff. So Paramount Signs with Tanya, is a great individual. So that's the last thing. So as I mentioned, we're here today because this is our 4th class of Distinguished Alumni. This program was launched with the support of the Donaldson family, which we so appreciate. And our collective vision on this was that we were going to capture the amazing stories of Brandon's most successful and accomplished alumni. And we were going to use these stories to inspire the kids that are here in our schools today. And I can tell you, when I walk through this hall, it gives me great pleasure. I'll walk through and I see students every day up here looking at the plaques and reading what they've done. And they've set the bar high for our students about what they can accomplish as Brandon students. We started with our original 3. We had Ron Sutton, who we just met over here. Over 60 years of service to the Ortonville community. So many things. Absolutely amazing guy, Mr. Ortonville, Ron Sutton. Unbelievable guy. Next, we met Joe Slaughter, who's here. Joe Slaughter graduated in 1965 and has gone on and done amazing things in business, chairman and CEO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Somebody who never forgot his roots. He comes back here and supports so many opportunities for our kids. An amazing man. Proud to have you on this wall. That's Joe Slaughter. Our third person that we had in our original 3, he is out coaching football. He's now part of our football coaching staff. We reconnected him here with our district, and he's been a great asset to our football program. But 2001 graduate Matt Lentz was a 2-time All-American at the University of Michigan and alumnus of the NFL. Great man, reconnected here. Then we continue after that first year with some more amazing stories. And here tonight, I mentioned Justin Quisenberry. Justin Quisenberry's done all kinds of amazing things. West Point, 3 tours in Afghanistan, 3 Bronze Stars. What a great man. Great to know you. Not here with us this evening, but we have Dr. Cynthia Heck McDermott. She's a professor at Harvard, does research, does all kinds of amazing things with the eyes, and she was with us a couple years ago. What a neat lady. And last year, we had 2 more fantastic people, or actually 3 more people that honored us. Posthumously, we honored Private Leo Flood. He was a 1943 Ortonville High School graduate. He went overseas and he served in the famed Blue Devil infantry in World War II. And he received the Silver Star, saving another man. He lost his life during the war, but was a war hero. So that was Leo Flood. And we also had the honor of recognizing the Cook family, Lori and Clark Cook. They're a fixture in this community. Cook's Dairy is something that's amazing. It's an amazing thing. Everybody knows Cook's Dairy, but what you might not know is from 1982, when they took this over, they've done some amazing things with that business, grown it, made it a really strong business. Kept right here in Ortonville. They're a fixture in this community, so I'm very proud to have them on this wall as well. So let's have a round of applause to all of them. So we're going to add 2 more people to this. But before we do, I'm going to ask the question that I ask every year. And this is this question: who will be next? Which one of the students walking the halls today is going to rise to the highest level of their professions? That may one day be the Michigan Teacher of the Year, that might win an Oscar or Olympic gold medal, perhaps win the Nobel Prize. Who's going to be the next Ron Sutton, Joe Slaughter, Justin Quisenberry, Lori or Clark Cook? Who's it going to be? Who's going to be the next Jamie McDermott or Tim Purdy? These future members of the Distinguished Alumni Wall of Fame are here today in our halls. And I think we all look forward to watching their amazing stories develop over the next several decades. So I want to thank you all for being here this evening, for your support of the school district and of the community. So thank you so much. So, at this time, I would like to welcome Diane Donaldson to the podium. And on behalf of the Brandon School District, we want to thank you for your service to the children of this community. We want to thank the entire Donaldson family for their generous support and all that you have done for the Brandon School District. Thank you.
Well, it seems like we could get easier each year to do this, but somehow my emotions are a little high this year, so I hope you'll just hang in there with me. I am honored to be here representing myself, my husband, and the entire Donaldson family as we celebrate the 2018 class of the Ed and Diane Donaldson Brandon High School Distinguished Alumni Award. If I mention a person's name, I won't make you stand up. I just want you to just raise your hand, because if I ask my family to stand up, they'll. Okay. I would like to acknowledge a special person who is a very special part of our family, and he's here tonight, and it's Chico Vasquez. Raise your hand. Chico has been a friend of the family for a long time. He's been a godsend to our family since Ed died. Chico Vasquez is here to celebrate this award with us tonight, and he was one of Ed's best athletes, and most of all, he's been a big part of our family and very special to our family. Okay, I am so happy to be back at Brandon Schools and seeing people I haven't seen for many years, or some I just saw last year for the first time in a long time. It brings back so many great memories. I also wanted to tell a special story about one of Ed's players. His name is Steve Delfer. Steve was a junior in high school playing basketball for Ed, and it became noticeable that he needed a place to live. Ed came home and said that Steve would be moving in with us the next day. He always said, any of my players are welcome in my home at any time. I thought, okay. However, without hesitation, we all welcomed him into our family, and he's been a son to me and to Ed ever since. So we're very proud of Steve, and there he is. Say something about each one of my family, but I'm just going to mention their names and move on. First of all, my daughter Tamara Peters, my son-in-law Craig, and their two daughters, my two granddaughters who are very special, Alyssa Peters and Alexandria Peters. Another son, David Donaldson, who's here. His son is here, Edwin Keenan Donaldson II, known as Keenan. So there are two people in the family that are not here, but for a very special reason, and Lynn Shank will appreciate this. I have a granddaughter that's 12. She's in 7th grade. She's in a very highly a school district that has a lot to do with academics. And she's in 7th grade taking an advanced math class so she can take algebra as an 8th grader. And so after a family discussion, she made a very adult decision as a 12-year-old to stay home because she had a quiz in the math class today. Plus she's taking French and a lot of other classes that are very demanding, and she didn't want her grades to drop. So that's why my daughter-in-law and my granddaughter aren't here. But that's my family, and I'm so proud of all of them. Combined, Ed and I served the Brandon School District for nearly half a century. We came to Ortonville right out of college at Olivet College. As a college cheerleader, I was the captain of the squad. I tried to bring the same energy, discipline, and commitment to my job as an elementary school teacher as I did on the college cheerleading team. I loved helping kids learn and grow each and every day. I was also the cheerleading coach at Brandon and was also very proud of the kids and everything this town and school represents. I now live in Florida, where Ed and I retired over 20 years ago. I want, I want to relay how proud I am of being associated with this award and how proud I am of all the candidates and especially the 2 new ones this year. As a college athlete, Ed was a great leader and a teammate, which ultimately led to him becoming inducted into the Olivet College Athlete Hall of Fame. During his career at Brandon, he rose from a physical education teacher, a basketball coach where his team won 80% of their overall games in a 10-year period, to athletic director and ultimately principal. Ed lived by the motto, champions are made, not born. He taught us that life is a level playing field and success is earned through hard work and discipline by you and those that surround you. He played multiple roles in the lives of all of those he touched, and especially within our family. He was a husband, a father, our coach, our mentor, and ultimately our best friend. Excuse me. In 2007, his spirit, excuse me, just a minute, I gotta find out where I was, I can't see.
Take a breath, we're not going to.
I was good last year, every other year, okay. Although dying in 2007, his spirit lives on with us and throughout the halls of the high school, where he spent so much of his adult life. He would be extremely proud to be associated with this special award and to be witness to this to this special event and those special people. One of the proudest accomplishments that my daughter Tamara and son David had at Brandon is being honored among the few athletes of the Brandon Wall of Fame, with their pictures being hung just down the hall. The acknowledgement is meaningful to our family because they were so proud to have represented our town, our family, this school, and community, and to be associated with the many other talented people who've come through this school. On behalf of the entire family, I want to thank you for allowing the Ed Donaldson family and to have their contributions to the Brandon schools to be recognized in such a meaningful way. We especially want to thank the superintendent, Matt Outlaw, for heading this idea, and especially to Maria, who, like she says, put up with me a lot by telephone because I don't do email. Okay? And to those who supported it to make it very possible. We hope this is something that will live on and expand each year to future generations of Brandon alumni. I want to congratulate and say big thanks to you, this year's honorees, for the contributions throughout your life. You're a true representation of all that's good and positive about Ortonville and Brandon. You make us all proud to be Brandon Blackhawks. Congratulations.
As always, I'd like to thank the Donaldson family for helping to put this on. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Noah Cox. I'm a senior here at Brandon High School, and I've been on this committee for 3 years now. And it's given me a unique perspective being able to look at this alumni wall and really the combination of looking at it from someone on the committee and also as a student here at the high school. So I just want to kind of share some of those thoughts tonight before we go ahead and introduce the alumni nominated tonight. So from a student's point, the wall represents a source of curiosity. It always shows up the Thursday before homecoming, and I think that represents, a point for us to start asking the right questions, right? What did these people do to get on this wall, and, how can I be like them? How can I step forward, step up, and really succeed like they have? So I think from a student's perspective, that's something, really interesting, and, part of the curiosity really adds to it every year. As a member of the community, I've lived here in Ortonville my whole life. It represents a way for us to put Ortonville on the map. we're not a large community, right? Compared to a place like Ann Arbor or Grand Rapids, we've got probably 15,000 people between the two townships and the city proper. And so I think it's a chance for us to really put ourselves on the map. I mean, how many other high schools can you think of have, an alumni wall to honor such great graduates? So I think that's another great, piece from this wall. And then finally, from the standpoint of really aspirations and dreams, I think this wall can really inspire someone. High school for anybody is really a time of change, and it can be, different, right? It's a source of change. And, I think, when you walk through these halls going between your classes each day, this wall offers an opportunity for you to look at it and, become inspired, really look at these people and know that, everybody came from a different background, but they all accomplished great things. And so, as a student, it's really an inspirational piece. With that being said, it is my great pleasure to begin the introduction of tonight's honorees. They were nominated for their exemplary accomplishments in business and service to our nation and selected from a pool of outstanding Brandon graduates by a committee of alumni, school officials, students, and community members. First person I'd like to talk about is Mr. Purdy. He's going to be introduced by David Donaldson. And then Jamie McDermott, she's going to be introduced by Mark Evans. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. Can we give a special round of applause? Just hold on for Noah Cox.
Yeah.
The future of Ortonville is in the hands of our kids. I feel really confident. Good evening. What an awesome experience. This is my first time being here at this, and I can tell you it's good to be back home, and it's such an honor to be here with such distinguished people. I want to start first by thanking Dr. Outlaw, and I would ask if you have been a teacher, administrator, if you have worked in any capacity at this school in any way, shape, or form, could you just stand up for a minute? Anybody, everybody.
Connie.
Come on, Connie,
Get up,
You worked hard. My daughter's over there.
That Tim had said, but I will tell you, this school would not be the place that it is. And a night like tonight would never happen without you, and we cannot thank you enough, and you all just deserve our gratitude and round of applause. We really So I'm here to talk about Tim Purdy, and I'm here to talk a little bit about what I think it's like to grow up in Ortonville, Michigan. You grow up in this town, and the words like pride and humility and priorities and community and family come to mind, and friends. And then, I get the opportunity to talk about one of my best friends, Tim Purdy. And I'm going to share some thoughts that people have about Tim in a really nice way. And I was kind of surprised to hear all the nice comments they had. And then I realized it's just because they thought he was the guy that could get them out of their speeding ticket. So Tim, I'm going to pay this one in advance. Take care of that for me. Tim will have a line on the way. By the way, how do you get that boot off the tire? Teach me that one, lady? Okay. So the reality is, Tim defined what it is to make people better. Candidly, throughout the course of our years together here in Brandon, there were better athletes than Tim. There were actually better athletes than all of us. But what Tim did what set him apart was that I literally had no better teammate in my life. He was a good athlete. He did start as a QB in football. But I started to think to myself today, how do you make people better? And I can remember in that gym over there, Tim, didn't play a lot on the basketball team. Great athlete, starting quarterback in the football team, didn't play a lot in basketball. And every time we ran ring sprints, I always wanted to be first. And I could never beat him. Would hardly play in the game, if ever. Could never beat him. He would always say, you can do better. And not a good one. Practice like you're going to play the game. When our family talked about this wall and Superintendent Outlaw, we wanted to represent the best of who we are as a school and a community. What's possible coming out of Brandon and Ortonville? Well, we play a lot of different roles in our lives, in people's lives. As for Tim, he was our player coach on the field at all times. When you think about a player coach, there's another coach worth noting, Coach St. Aubin, who was our basketball coach, was Tim's football coach and JV as well. He helped us learn to focus on family and have intensity and commitment to the team and your role on it. Someone you could laugh with, cry with, call out when it's needed. Spirit of making the team better, stand shoulder to shoulder, go to battle with. You know, he was a friend who was always there for us, just like Tim. Tim was the kind of person that always had team over self, community over self. It was evident on the football and basketball court, and it was evidence in the way he carried himself in this school and everything he did, and it's evident in his career with the police officer team. So what did Coach Aubin say? Coach St. Aubin said, Tim and I had the privilege of being at Brandon at the same time as my dad, Ed Donaldson. He credited my dad with being Coach St. Aubin's immediate supervisor and most importantly his mentor. He had the pleasure of coaching Tim for 3 years as a junior varsity football coach and as varsity basketball coach. Tim was a respected leader on both teams. He was hardworking and selfless. I know he was the type of player that Ed himself would have been proud to coach. Although Tim never achieved greatness as an athlete, his contribution to the good of all was irreplaceable. Not a starter, but an undisputed leader. He said, I had the honor of reconnecting with Tim over the last several years, and he always expressed gratitude for his Brandon teachers and the deep sense of purpose with which they did their jobs. He also pledged that he too would work in that same level of commitment and be a difference maker. Well, you're going to see tonight, folks, Tim wanted to be a life changer, and he succeeded. You'll see in a minute a moment that forever changed two people's lives. One of our other best friends, Aaron Blackmer, who lives near Tim in Charlotte, who couldn't be here tonight, he said this, when I think about Tim Purdy, I think about selflessness, an excellent team player, always putting the team ahead of himself. And most importantly, he's a great listener. Thank you, Tim, for always being there whenever I needed you. And I do think, I consider this a huge sense of accomplishment, that I actually got Tim to get teary-eyed tonight. This award isn't about just what happens within these halls. What happens within these halls is very special for all of us. This award is also about what happens, what you do beyond these halls. Who can we be and what can we be for the world around us? And there's no better story, no better recommendation. I've seen a lot of interview recommendations. I've seen a lot of references in my life. I've never seen one better than this. This is feedback from Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Sergeant Amy Stuckey. She says, Officer Tim Purdy started with the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department in 1994. After learning the ropes in patrol, Tim was chosen to be a part of the department's street drug interaction team. This elite team was made up of the department's best officers who sought out individuals in drug sales and violent crime. As Tim grew in his career, he found his passion to be in the investigative cases. In 2010, he was chosen to be part of the CMPD's homicide team. Not only was Tim tasked of learning a new position, but during this time, Tim's medical condition was getting worse. See, Tim had liver disease. In 2005, his health quickly made a turn for the worse, and he was added to the transplant list and prayed for a new liver. In 2006, not letting that deter him, like he's never let anything in his life deter him, Officer Purdy was recognized for his involvement in one of the very first successful federal prosecutions of human trafficking in Charlotte. Unbeknownst to him at the time, this would pave the way for future human trafficking prosecutions in Charlotte and eventually creation of the human trafficking unit of the CMPD. In 2007, he received the call he long prayed for. There was a liver ready for him, and the liver would be safely transplanted into his body. That allowed him to do what he loved most, which was return to his job. That same year of his transplant, 2007, the CMPD homicide unit was awarded the Chief's Unit citation for the lowest homicide rate in over a decade. In 2010, Officer Purdy became a television star while working at CMPD. The television show, The First 48, filmed in Charlotte and featured Detective Purdy in the first 3 episodes. So I guess we've got a TV star. My son would say, Tim Purdy's favorite. One afternoon in June 2016, just a normal day, Officer Purdy was working and heard a call over the radio for a missing, suicidal, autistic male subject. I could go on and tell you the story, but I think the video that we're going to show will speak more volumes than anything I can say about it.
This is the first time Officer Tim Purdy and 18-year-old Jeremiah Glover have seen one another since that dangerous day.
Long time no see. You been doing all right? Yeah.
And this is the first time Jeremiah's mom has seen the now famous photo.
Wow.
And this is what happened.
This is 911.
May 12th, North Carolina, Charlotte. Jeremiah's mother calls 911 to report her autistic son missing. He's got a history of violence, maybe suicidal.
Oh, we're doing good, and I don't know what happened today.
Purdy, a 22-year police veteran, is just starting his day. On the radio, he already hears 2 fellow officers have found Jeremiah, but he reads something else in their voices.
You know what, let me just kind of head that way and see if I might be able to help out a little bit.
Driving up, he sees the officers physically struggling to restrain the teen
Hold right here.
and senses it's about to go very bad. His next move is remarkable.
So as I approached them, I just kind of got down on my knees, you know, and tried to get to his level.
What'd you talk about after that?
Football, the Panthers.
The explosive situation turned into a conversation. A fellow officer was so moved by the scene, he took a photo. It went viral.
So tell me this, was the getting down on his level training or something you have just learned?
Just something that I've learned over the years.
Jeremiah's distraught mom remembers racing up, fearing the worst.
The officer definitely was on his level, sitting with them, communicating, and my son was safe.
Purdy is overwhelmed by all of the attention, saying he knows other cops do similar things daily without any recognition.
There you go. Leave on a good one, brother.
What could have gone wrong has turned out more than all right, thanks to a police officer who showed up armed with compassion. Martin Savage, CNN, Charlotte.
I'd say that video says a million. As luck would have it, someone with the National Law Enforcement Memorial also saw that CNN story, national CNN story. They contacted the CMPD department and said they wanted to recognize Tim nationally for his work on his call to service. No one from the CMPD had ever nominated or won this prestigious award, and in 2017, Tim and his family were flown to Washington, D.C. during the National Police Week, where he was given the National Officer of the Month award in June 2016. The award was presented during the candlelight vigil with that honors fallen officers and their families, and is attended by police agencies from across the country. As a member of the training staff, Tim continues his great work today. He utilizes his expertise in interview and interrogation to teach the next generation of young police officers. You know, there's a quote that sticks out in my mind that I think about all the time, and I think it speaks volumes for Tim. You know, everybody ultimately tells you who they are, and you never even have to ask. Isn't it ironic, or maybe it's not so ironic? It's exactly how life should go. It's someone who's made so much of his life about making others better. Being there for them, in their time of need, being a player coach, being a teammate, being a friend, is honored here tonight in this way. Tim Purdy represents the best of who we are as a community. Noah? He represents what's possible. What you can accomplish after you walk these halls as a student and the streets of this town as a citizen. And by honoring him, we celebrate not only him, but we honor all of us. Those who've been students here, those who are or have been teachers, administrators, members of the executive assistant team, food service staff, custodians, anybody who's walked these halls. We celebrate Tim tonight, but we also celebrate everyone who has a part in making this school and this town, this community, the amazing and wonderful place that it is. I'd like to talk just for a minute about legacy. So this one goes to my nieces Alyssa and Alex, my daughter Avery, Kate. Got any jokes, Keenan? So this is where we're from. This is the place where your grandmother and grandfather worked and devoted their lives to making people better. Right here are the halls that your grandfather walked, where he helped build and shape a culture that he and all of us can be proud of. This is the place where the name Edwin Keenan Donaldson means something. There's a lot of people tonight who could tell you more stories about that Keenan. He's the only one in our family that never met my name. But most importantly, this is a place where people like Tim Purdy grew up. Learn the value of hard work, leadership, and friendship. This is a place where everyone here is proud of it because of people like Tim Purdy. Congratulations, Tim. We're all very proud of you. Members to be inducted as a BHS Distinguished Alumni.
She's checking your grammar. So I just want to start off by saying I don't think I'm a very emotional person, so I won't need these at all. First of all, I'd just like to give thanks. Thanks to God, because He's not with us, then we're not here. But, thank you for my family. Thank you for my friends. Thank you, everybody here. And thank you for like Dave said, everybody from the custodians all the way through the teachers that were able to keep me grounded because it was tough. What this award means to me is unbelievable. It's very humbling. Going up to DC was very humbling. And let me tell you something that tops that, because it has to do with your hometown, where you come from. The great thing about it for me is it started off with a third grade teacher. But it also started off when me and Dave were real young and playing baseball together, and that's when we became friends and continued to maintain our friendship throughout high school. I'd also like to say that I'm also one of 5 Purdy kids, and I am the only one that Ed Donaldson did not suspend. Although that me and Ed had a couple of heart-to-hearts, never got suspended. There is a teacher back there, I won't name her out by really just, Miss Chang. She tried to get me suspended several times. But it just didn't work because she figured she was going to get all 5 of us. She doesn't know I had a Lucky Charm in my pocket. I keep that Lucky Charm in my pocket today, too. But it goes back to just that foundation that was laid. When I think about everything that I've gone through, been through in my life, there was one thing that I knew that I always had, and that's what I was grounded. And I haven't been back in Ortonville in several years, and took a little bit of time today to drive around, and it's changed a little bit. But the one feeling that it doesn't change is the community, the sense of family, the sense of faith, and just overall integrity. I think that kept me grounded throughout my career. I think my coaches kept me grounded and kept me in the fight. I was diagnosed in 1998 with 2 diseases, ulcerative colitis and a liver disease called primary sclerosing cholangitis. And in 2004, I had my large intestine removed. And in 2005, like Dave said, I was placed on the liver transplant list. And in 2007, I remember driving home one day, and I finally turned everything over to God, and I said, I can't fight any longer. I'm done. And less than a week later, God answered my prayers. But the whole time I would go up to Chapel Hill, I had my transplant at the University of North Carolina. They would always ask me, are you still working? Why do you guys keep asking me? And they said, because people in your place, in your shoes, don't work. And I said, well, you wouldn't have to worry about that if I didn't have something to work for. But I look back at my childhood, I look back at my coaches. Tim St. Alvin was a huge mentor in my life. And he just said, keep fighting, keep fighting, keep fighting, and keep fighting. I just celebrated my 11th anniversary back in August of this year. And have been dealing with a lot of mixed emotions about everything because I've never written a letter to my donor. I never wanted to reopen any kind of wounds or anything like that. But with the sense of accomplishments, there also comes a sense of unworthiness in knowing if you're worthy enough to carry on that other person's life. So I finally wrote a letter this year. And it was the day after that I received a phone call from Diane Donaldson telling me that I was nominated for this award. So I kind of look back and you ask yourself, are you worthy enough? And I can actually answer that question today, obviously because I'm here, that I was chosen for a reason. So again, I would just like to thank everybody, all my teachers, all my friends, the Donaldson family, because they've had a huge impact on my life. And I'd like to thank Dave and Aaron for nominating me. Me and Dave competed the whole time we were in high school and junior high. And I don't think there was ever any time that we didn't look at our friendship over anything else. We just pushed to make each other better. And I appreciate you so much for being able to do that, for being a brother, to continue to push me, to make me the person that I am. But I always look back at a quote from Luke Holtz that says that you always got to give thanks back to the people that where you come from. So I'd like to just thank this community. I'd like to thank this school for keeping me grounded, giving me the honor, giving me integrity, and giving me the ability to continue to fight. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my third grade teacher.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Evans. I am Jamie McDermott's big brother. I would like to thank I would like to thank the Donaldson family. I work for the school district. I pass this memorial every day, and it is such an honor to see these people recognized in high school. Just to give you some history of Jamie. Jamie graduated in 1979. She was the salutatorian of her class. And when I called Jamie to tell her that I nominated her, she said, no, really, you did. I said, yeah, I did. She said, well, I'm really honored. And well, and you've done really well in the business community. In saying that, Jamie has served over 30 years as a global senior executive for Fortune 100 companies, including Coca-Cola, Tropicana, Seagram's, Bellagio, and Miller Coors. She is currently the president of Prosmart Sales Agency, with the revenues exceeding $1 billion a year. Additionally, Jamie has established a national mentoring program for women in business and is the vice chair of the Colorado Women's Chamber of Commerce. My family moved out here in 1965. We've been part of this community for a long time. So I just felt it was just that, I recognize my sister for her accomplishments that she's achieved. Thank you.
Where the senior picture came from. I didn't have mine. The security around some of those things has been lost. So I hope you'll indulge me. I wanted to make sure that my remarks were clear and really spoke from what I've been thinking about. And so first, I am so honored to be here tonight. I'm proudly representing Brandon High School alumni and sharing this recognition with a true hero in Tim Purdy. I am grateful, and words don't adequately describe. I am grateful to be the recipient of this distinguished honor. I would like to thank Dr. Outlaw and the selection committee, faculty members, members of the community, students, family, and friends for being here to share in this moment with us. Until recently, and Mark said it, I was not even aware that the honor existed. And I will be forever grateful to my brother for thinking enough about my work and accomplishments to nominate me. This is going to be really hard, but it was 40 years ago. That is not something I normally admit to anyone. That I was here at Brandon High School beginning my senior year. So much has changed, but thankfully for all of us in Ortonville, much has stayed the same. For me, my face keeps falling and it just refuses to get back. My hair is much blonder than it was when I was in high school. I am a proud parent and a grandparent, and I can't even believe that I'm saying that out loud. And yet I have remained a lifelong student on my journey of learning, firmly established by my days here at Brandon. And I've done my best to stay connected to my family and friends, and thank you all for being here, because growing up here, you gain a real understanding of what support looks like. So 40 years ago was the beginning of a year that encapsulated really my entire time within the Brandon School District and further shaped my character. As I've been thinking back through all the experiences that I've had throughout my career that were memorable and or have assisted me in my accomplishments, a few do stick out. However, none, and I mean this, none would have been possible without my start here at Brandon. I was provided a solid foundation from my very beginning at Bellarmine Elementary, all the way through senior high at Brandon. I've been lucky enough to travel the globe in my career, and by doing so, getting exposed to various cultures and community mores, which have often caused me to reflect on where I grew up, how I was treated, and the impact it had on my life. Let me remind all of you, if you needed the reminder, that there is really something very special about Ortonville in the way the community cares for one another, and the teachers of Brandon encourage critical and individual thought. All are important as you face the failures and successes in the business world. In addition, I was also an active 4-H member, cheerleader, band member. In addition, I had 12 years in Girl Scouts. I worked at Willow Point. And I had a lot of other various activities, but they all contributed to my exposure to different people, to hard work, collaboration, and the courage to stand and be heard. While specifics are a bit blurry for me, I do remember late nights on game buses. I think my cheerleading squad told me I couldn't sing. I don't think I'll ever forget that. And I can't, so. True statement. Flower making parties for homecoming floats, and I'm not sure, does that still happen? And we used to have big flower making parties, that was a big deal. Junior Miss competition, softball, cheerleading camps, an epic senior trip to the Bahamas. So I have to say that Corbin, Kentucky, I think we heard about that all the way to Corbin, Kentucky. And Volare, does that ring a bell? Does that ring a bell? Yep. They do spring to mind. Spirit cake, pep rallies, friendships, and schoolwork, along with countless more. But all of them are with Ortonville and what a special place it is, and the people that make it up at the core of these memories. In a world of pressure and chaos, coming home to Ortonville has always provided me with perspective on how things can progress and yet stay the same. I finished my time here at Brandon with a lifelong desire to learn, to be open to new ideas, have flexibility, and to care for people. Upon graduation, I left our unique little town to attend Michigan State University, so yes, I am a proud Spartan, where I graduated with a BS in package engineering, and I have never worked a day in my life in engineering. Instead, I really use that knowledge and understanding to run large manufacturing facilities. And as an example, I led the team that installed and launched the straws and within the aseptic drink boxes, like Minute Maid orange juice and High C. I actually installed a number of aseptic operations and downstream equipment, learning to hone my skills, particularly my ability to lead, initially developed here at Brandon High. Midway through my career, I took a very bold move and made a very conscious decision to move completely out of my comfort zone of manufacturing and learn what I call the revenue producing side of the business, or sales and marketing. I took significant steps backwards, sideways, in my career to gain the experiences that have enabled me to lead large organizations through challenging economies and significant transformational efforts, assisting the organizations that I work for to achieve our stated objectives and grow. I've worked for and sat with many Fortune 100 company CEOs, secure in the knowledge that they put their pants on the same way I do, one leg at a time. Another nugget from my time here at Brandon. And while today I am the president of Crossmark, I'm reminded that I'm responsible for 30,000 families in some way, and that the decisions I make are more important than just me. And because I've spent most of my career in male-dominated functions and industries, I spent a great deal of time partnering with and educating up-and-coming young women on how to be successful in business. In general, I let them know that they need to be bold, they need to have courage, they can't be shy, they need to know what they want, and they can't be shy about asking for it. They need to play above their weight, make real contributions, and understand the role they play in their organization. That they can have it all, but they have to decide what that means to them. What does all mean to them? And that the road to a successful career is a journey that starts with many small steps. The key is to always step forward, no matter what the circumstance, to learn, to grow, but start the journey. The accomplishments I've experienced haven't been without sacrifice, perseverance, and yes, failures. But importantly, excuse me, a grounding again from Brandon in the fact that you cannot be successful on your own. You have to surround yourself with good people and friends and have a solid sense of family and community. We need people in our lives who raise our standards, remind us of our essential purpose, and challenge us to become better versions of ourselves. I am thankful for my family, my husband John, who's truly been the wind beneath my wings, my boys, my parents, my siblings, my nephews and nieces, and so many family members who have provided me with solid grounding in who I am, and my friends, excuse me, many of whom are former classmates who have always supported me near and far. And the teachers at Brandon High School who encouraged me to do my best, seek to understand, be inquisitive, find and have my own voice, and always look for new and different ways to contribute while remaining open-minded. I was lucky enough to have some of the best that were real role models for me and taught me so many early lessons in life. Ms. Schenk, Mrs. Caddick, Mr. Stogg, Mr. Medlin, Mr. Wirtz, Mr. Hostetler, just to name a few. The Brandon High School alumni have so many that are very accomplished in their field of choice. It is truly a rare and humbling privilege for me to be here, playing my small role in representing them. And while I no longer live in Ortonville, the essence and specialness of growing up here will always remain with me. Again, thank you for this recognition. I will be forever. Thank you.
While we're standing, let's give another round of applause for all the Truly unbelievable. Our fourth year of this, and every year just I leave amazed. My heart is full. Want to thank you all for being here this evening, on helping us to continue this great tradition. It's been really fun to talk about the impact that all these graduates are having on the community and all around the world. We're honored to recognize these outstanding Brandon alums, and we look forward to filling these walls over the years with so many more stories of our Brandon alumni. So can we give one final round of applause for our honored Thank you so much for being here this evening, and I hope to see you back here next year. Thank you again to the Donaldson family and all of you for being here.